How the Raven Helped Men. The raven and the eagle were cousins, and they were almost always friendly, but whenever they talked together about men, they quarreled. "Men are lazy," declared the eagle. "There is no use in trying to help them. The more one does for them, the less they do for themselves." "You fly so high," said the raven, "that you cannot see how hard men work. I think that we birds, who know so much more than they do, ought to help them." "They do not work," cried the eagle. "What have they to do, I should like to know? They walk about on the ground, and their food grows close by their nests. If they had to fly through the air as we do and get their food wherever they could, they might talk about working hard." "That is just why we ought to help them," replied the raven. "They cannot mount up into the air as we do. They cannot see anything very well unless it is near to them, and if they had to run and catch their food, they would surely die of hunger. They are poor, weak creatures, and there is not a hummingbird that does not know how many things that they never heard of." "You are a poor, weak bird if you think you can teach men. When they feel hunger, they will eat, and they do not know how to do anything else. Just to look at them. They ought to be going to sleep, and they do not know enough to even do that. How can they know that it is night when they have no sun and no moon to tell them when it is day and when it is night?" "They would not go to sleep even if they had 2 moons," said the eagle. "And you are no true cousin of mine if you do not let them alone." So the 2 birds quarreled. Almost every time they met, they quarreled about men, and at last, whenever the eagle began to mount into the air, the raven went near the earth. Now the eagle had a pretty daughter. She and the raven were good friends, and they never quarreled about men. One day the pretty daughter said, "Cousin Raven, are you too weak to fly as high as you used to do?" "I was never less weak," declared the raven. "Almost every day you keep on the ground. Can you not mount into the air?" "Of course I can," answered the raven. "There are some strange things in my father's lodge," said the pretty daughter, "and I do not know what they are. They are not good to eat, and I do not see what else they are good for. Will you come and see them?" "I will go wherever you ask me," declared the raven. The eagle's lodge was far up on the top of a high mountain, but the 2 birds were soon there, and the pretty daughter showed the raven the strange things. He knew what they were, and he said to himself, "Men shall have them, and by they will be no less wise than the birds," he said. "Has your father a magic cloak?" "Yes," answered the pretty daughter. "May I put it on?" "Yes, surely." When the raven had once put on the magic cloak, he seized the strange things and put them under it. Then he called, "I will come again soon, my pretty little cousin, and tell you all about the people of the earth." The things under his cloak were strange indeed, for one was the sun and one was the moon. There were hundreds of bright stars, and there were brooks and rivers and waterfalls. Best of all, there was the precious gift of fire. The raven put the sun high up in the heavens and fastened the moon and stars in their places. He let the brooks run down the sides of the mountains, and he hid the fire away in the rocks. After a while, men found all these precious gifts. They knew when it was night and when it was day, and they learned how to use fire. They cannot mount into the air like the eagle, but in some things they are almost as wise as the birds. End of How the Raven Helped Men. Recording by Jen Broda.